Bitcoin's been active the past day or so, which is a good change. We have had some significant developments here that I want to go over. I want to go over my trading plans and what I'm looking at on the more macro right now as well. So since my last video, Bitcoin has gotten a move down to the lows of this range. We SFP'd it at first, and I took 3 trades in this area, but pretty much ended up being a break even. I profited a little bit, but I took one long right here, longing this SFP. There was no market structure to wait for. I couldn't look for a low time frame market structure shift, so I just decided to take a little long here, but I didn't hold it open very long. Actually, I ended up closing it right around my entry, like somewhere over here, just a few hours later maybe. Because of what I was seeing on Coinalyze, we were seeing a lot of bearish absorption. If I can go back and find where we were. We were seeing bearish absorption pretty much this whole time. I mean, right here we were seeing it, like just in general as prices going down, CVD and open interest were increasing. We, kind of continued it here, even though we might have taken out the high on some exchanges. We basically double topped, so, I wouldn't really count it as, voiding any absorption here. I'd say the absorption pretty much continues as price continues to put in lower highs. And I did take 2 shorts here, but I wasn't able to secure many profits. The first one was a much larger risk-reward trade, so I think once I closed out my long, I just decided to short the absorption. I had my invalidation, kind of high. I wanted to give myself some wiggle room, and I actually ended up taking 2 shorts in this area, but I was only able to TP on one of them. We got this move to the downside. I didn't set a limit order, or at least I didn't set a limit order close with my first short. I was actually targeting a lot lower because, honestly, I was feeling pretty bearish at this point. I mean, seeing bearish absorption right after we got to move down towards this very significant level, if we lose this range, then I'd say all hope is lost for us getting upside in the short term. I've gone over my reasonings why, but we've just broken out of the larger range. Right now, there's a chance that we're forming a smaller range here before getting, a move back into the previous range. But if we lose this mini range now, then there's a good chance we're going to start filling this inefficiency that we have below us, and potentially very fast. So I set a crazy limit order on one of my shorts. I set a realistic one on the second one, and I was able to TP on that one. So I was able to profit from that, but very slightly. And once I saw that we were getting this large wick back to the upside, this kind of made me reconsider my bias. I ended up closing, the short that I TP'd on, I had my stop loss at entry. The other one I still had risk on, but I just ended up closing it at basically a break even. Because my bias, was definitely impacted by this large wick we got to the downside. We SFP'd the SFP. From there, I was basically looking at structure. I wanted to see us break structure after putting in a new lower low, and once we broke structure, I would consider getting involved with a long. So that was my plan. We can quickly go through structure actually, because I haven't really looked at it much other than low time frame, but we know that this higher high up here was following primary structure, so goes like that, and then we broke to the downside here, we'll say lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. So on the 4 hour, the market structure point to keep our eyes on would be this high up here. This is the lower high. So I would say if we're able to close above this high, that would probably mean that the scenario that I talked about would play out. Since we put in another lower low, a market structure shift as we're breaking back into the previous range, that would be a good sign that this scenario is playing out. It doesn't guarantee it, but I think it would be more probable at that point. So in terms of the more macro, this high right here around 29,670 is going to be the level to watch in my opinion. And I am in a long at this point. If I go down to the lower time frames, I got into this long following lower time frame structure, So first I was looking at the hourly structure. From this high, we had, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then we got the bullish break right there. And originally I was planning for a retrace trade, but that didn't happen. We didn't get a retrace, so I had to go with plan B here, which was basically entering on the second market structure break. So on the 15-minute, the structure looks a little different because we actually broke structure right here, just barely though, and I might not even consider this a break in most cases, but I know we definitely closed above it on the 5-minute. So I was looking at this as a market structure break. I was kind of anticipating the higher time frame market structure break here, and basically I entered once we got this second close above this high. So I entered here, invalidation down below here, and that is the trade I'm in at the moment. But it is still technically possible that we do get a retracement here, because based on this hourly structure, we can come all the way back down, anywhere in this area, still put in a higher low to here, and still continue this uptrend. So if this trade gets stopped out, I already TP'd some and left my stop loss where it is, but I de-risked that way. So I will definitely be looking for a re-entry if I end up getting stopped out of this one. And that's pretty much my ideas at this moment. I'm definitely probably more biased towards longs until we start closing down below this low. At that point, I think the hope for bullishness would be greatly diminished. I would be feeling a lot more bearish at that point. But for right now, we do have a market structure break on some time frames, and the next thing I'd be looking for would be for this high to break, because I would be getting a lot more bullish at that point. So if I were to make a plan to the downside right now, firstly, I'd say that I wouldn't consider any kind of, higher time frame market structure trade. And by that, I mean one where I set my invalidation below this market structure point, or at least, towards that market structure point, maybe below the 886, because, if we come below this, we're probably going for the low anyway. So before I consider something like that, I would at least want to retrace to the 0.5. And this area is also this, previous price action, this previous range. So this area could act as a type of order block here, and we can look to refine that. Maybe looking at this 30-minute order block that we have right here. It is very small, but it's sitting right on the 0.5. If the point of control of the uptrend lines up there, then I'd be more interested. And look at that, it does. So yeah, that's definitely a level I would be interested in there. And, I may even trade this as a scalp trade, just see if I can get in on, this bounce, if I'm expecting a bounce here. Set my invalidation maybe down here and look to lock this one in quickly, maybe up at this value area high. And then from there, just put stop loss to entry. I may play it like that depending on if we get a good reaction there, or if not, this could also be a decent area to start a larger term position. Maybe, if I'm not expecting us to bounce and, get a move up from there, but maybe I want to start adding here. So if we come lower, I can add a little bit more. And then from there, once we break structure, then I can, really add to that trade. Then I can put my invalidation down below here, something like that. Just start building a position. I may approach it like that. So, we'll see when we get there, if we even get a move down there. And yeah, that basically does it for, my plans and what I'm looking at. I still may consider a short up in this area. If we see a good reaction and if we see good confirmations, if market cipher is really showing bearishness as we approach up here, then maybe purging this liquidity into this area, or even looking for an SFP of this market structure point. If we see anything like that, then maybe I'll consider short trades up there, but I'd say at this point, just, based off of this reaction that we got here and this move to the upside, I'd say I'm feeling more bullish than bearish. It looks like price wants to maintain this mini range, and, if that's the case, then, there's a good chance we could break up out of here and reverse that 4-hour structure, and then potentially look to reclaim, this whole range. At that point, we could be looking at some very bullish targets. So we'll have to see how things play out. I'm not overly bullish at this point, but I think the signs are there. I think it is looking like we could see a bullish scenario play out here. Thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next video.